Option A, there is a $50 government program that gets you through airport security faster than TSA PreCheck, clears you through customs faster than global entry, and lets you skip the line at the Canadian border entirely. It has been around for decades. Most Americans have never heard of it. Option B, global entry costs $100 and covers one country. NEXUS costs $50 and covers two. For frequent travelers between the US and Canada, that is not a deal. That is the most overlooked value in all of travel. Option C, right now, there are travelers paying $100 for global entry when they could have paid $50 and gotten every single benefit of global entry plus 3 more. That is not a hack. That is just the NEXUS card, and almost nobody talks about it. Final hook, option C. Right now, there are travelers paying $100 for global entry when they could have paid $50 and gotten every single benefit of global entry plus 3 more. That is not a hack. That is just the NEXUS card, and almost nobody talks about it. If you cross into Canada even once a year, stay with me, because by the end of this video you will wonder why you waited this long. Let's start with the basics, because there is a lot of confusion out there. NEXUS is a joint trusted traveler program operated by U.S. Customs and Border Protection and the Canada Border Services Agency. That is right, two governments run this program together, which is part of why it is so powerful and also why it works a little differently than global entry. The program was designed specifically for pre-approved, low-risk travelers who regularly cross between the United States and Canada. But here is what surprises most people. You do not have to be a frequent Canada traveler to benefit from it. You just have to be willing to get it, and we will explain exactly why in a few minutes. The fee is $50. Global entry is $100. TSA PreCheck alone is $85. NEXUS is $50, and it includes benefits that none of those other programs give you individually. If you are only going to enroll in one trusted traveler program and you qualify, NEXUS is almost always the right answer. NEXUS gives you 4 distinct benefits, and this is where most explainers fall short. They mention 2 or 3 and move on. Let us go through all 4. Benefit 1, global entry equivalent at U.S. airports. When you fly internationally and arrive at a U.S. airport, you use the global entry kiosks. NEXUS membership grants you full access to those kiosks. Same fast lane, same automated process, no standing in the regular customs line. This works at every global entry airport in the country. Benefit 2, TSA PreCheck at U.S. airports. Your NEXUS membership number works as a known traveler number. Enter it when you book your flights and you get the PreCheck lane, shoes stay on, laptop stays in the bag, no full body scanner required. This is included. You do not pay separately for PreCheck. Benefit 3, dedicated NEXUS lanes at land border crossings. When you drive across the US-Canada border, NEXUS cardholders use a completely separate lane. No waiting behind travelers who need full inspections. In some crossings, especially during peak hours, this can save you anywhere from 30 minutes to over 2 hours. If you have ever sat in a border backup on a Friday afternoon, you know exactly what that is worth. Benefit 4, CATSA Plus lanes at Canadian airports. This one is almost never talked about. CATSA is the Canadian Air Transport Security Authority, the Canadian equivalent of TSA. NEXUS members get access to CATSA Plus lanes at major Canadian airports, which are the expedited screening lanes. So you get fast security in both countries. That is a benefit no other single US-based trusted traveler program gives you. Now let's talk about who qualifies. You must be a citizen or lawful permanent resident of the United States or Canada. You cannot have a serious criminal history, certain immigration violations, or customs violations. CBP and CBSA will both review your application independently, and both agencies must approve you. If either one denies you, the application does not go through. That joint review is what makes this program uniquely rigorous and uniquely trusted. Mistake number 1, assuming NEXUS is only useful if you go to Canada all the time. This is the biggest misconception. If you fly internationally even once or twice a year and you want PreCheck for domestic flights, NEXUS replaces both Global Entry and PreCheck for $50 less than Global Entry alone. Canada trips are a bonus, not a requirement. Mistake number 2, applying without understanding the joint interview requirement. NEXUS is the only trusted traveler program that requires you to be interviewed by officers from both countries at the same time. The interview happens at a joint enrollment center, which is physically located at a port of entry on the US-Canada border. You cannot do a NEXUS interview at a domestic Global Entry enrollment center inside a US airport. This surprises a lot of applicants who assume the process is the same as Global Entry. Mistake number 3, not knowing where enrollment centers are. There are currently around 14 NEXUS enrollment centers, and every single one is located at a land border crossing between the US and Canada. Locations include Peace Bridge in Buffalo, Blaine in Washington State, the Ambassador Bridge in Detroit, Pembina in North Dakota, and several others along the northern border. If you live far from the northern border, this is the trade-off. You will need to travel to an enrollment center. But for travelers who live in states like Washington, Michigan, New York, Minnesota, or Vermont, there is likely a center within reasonable driving distance. Mistake number 4, giving up on NEXUS because appointment wait times look long. We will come back to this. But here is what almost every traveler gets completely wrong about this. Most people look at the NEXUS program and assume that because the enrollment centers are only on the northern border, the interview wait times must be shorter than Global Entry. They are not always shorter. In fact, at some locations, NEXUS appointment slots are booked out for months. But here is the thing that almost no one realizes: NEXUS appointment slots open up constantly due to cancellations. Someone books an appointment in Blaine, Washington, and then cancels 2 weeks before. That slot becomes available immediately. The problem is that CBP's scheduling system does not notify you when earlier slots appear. You have to check manually, and most people do not. This is exactly why appointment monitoring services like AppointmentHopper exist. AppointmentHopper.com watches those slots around the clock and alerts you the moment an earlier opening appears at your preferred NEXUS enrollment center. Travelers who use a monitoring service often move their appointment up by weeks or even months. The program is not slow. The default scheduling system just does not work in your favor unless you know how to use it. Smart travelers treat NEXUS as their primary trusted traveler program, not a secondary one. They apply for NEXUS instead of Global Entry, save $50, and get more benefits. If they already have Global Entry, they check whether they also qualify for NEXUS because having the card gives you land border and CATSA Plus access that Global Entry alone does not provide. Smart travelers also plan their enrollment center visit strategically. If you live in Seattle, Blaine is less than an hour away. If you live in Buffalo, Peace Bridge is minutes away. If you live in Chicago or Boston, you might plan a short trip to the border around another travel day. Some travelers combine their NEXUS interview with a weekend trip to Canada, turning a requirement into an experience. And smart travelers do not accept the first available appointment date. They set up monitoring so they can get in sooner. Here is the exact process from start to finish. Step 1. Go to the Trusted Traveler Program's website, which is ttp.dhs.gov, and create an account. This is the official CBP portal. Step 2. Start a new application and select NEXUS as your program. The application asks about your citizenship, travel history, employment, and background. Be thorough and accurate. Both CBP and CBSA will review everything you submit. Step 3. Pay the $50 application fee. This is non-refundable, so make sure you qualify before applying. Review the eligibility requirements carefully. Step 4. Wait for conditional approval. Once both agencies have done their initial review, you will be conditionally approved and prompted to schedule your interview. Step 5. Schedule your interview at a NEXUS enrollment center. Choose the location that is most convenient for you geographically. This is where you will want to either check regularly for earlier slots or use a service like AppointmentHopper.com to monitor availability for you. Step 6. Attend your interview. Bring your passport and any required documentation. The interview is conducted jointly, both a CBP officer and a CBSA officer will be present. It is straightforward if your application is accurate. Answer honestly and completely. Step 7. Receive your NEXUS card in the mail, typically within 2 to 3 weeks after approval. Add your NEXUS number as your known traveler number on every future flight booking and you are set. Your membership is valid for 5 years and can be renewed. The renewal process is similar but often faster if your background is clean and your information has not changed significantly. NEXUS is a $50 program that delivers more combined value than any other single trusted traveler program available to US and Canadian citizens. You get global entry equivalent kiosk access at US airports. You get TSA PreCheck for domestic flights. You get dedicated fast lanes at every land border crossing between the US and Canada. And you get CATSA Plus expedited security at Canadian airports. The only real trade-off is that your enrollment interview must happen at a northern border crossing location. For millions of Americans, that is not a burden. It is a short drive. For others, it is worth planning around. If you are paying $100 for global entry and you also want PreCheck, you are spending $185 total when you could have spent $50 and covered both, plus 2 more benefits on top. That math does not work in your favor. Apply for NEXUS. Monitor your appointment slot. Get to your interview. And start crossing borders the way experienced travelers do, without waiting in line. If this video helped you, subscribe to AppointmentHopper for weekly trusted traveler program tips, and drop a comment below telling us which enrollment center is closest to you. We will see you in the next one.